Welcome to CWC Podcast, where leadership, culture and real-life lessons collide. I'm Chris Campbell, a former military leader turned business mentor and business project manager. I'm here to share stories, strategies and simple tools that'll help gain your edge. No fluff, no jargon, just practical conversations to help you grow. Let's dive straight in. Hello and welcome back to this CWC Edge podcast. I'm Chris Campbell and today we are stepping onto the pitch, but not just for football. We're talking about grassroots football coaching and the incredible lessons it gives us about leadership, about resilience, about teamwork and life itself. Now you might be thinking, but I don't coach football. Well, that's absolutely fine. This episode isn't just for coaches or parents. It's for anyone who leads. It's for anyone who mentors. It's for anyone who works with people. Because when you strip it back, coaching kids on a muddy football pitch isn't all that different from running a business, leading a team, mentoring a graduate, or guiding a service leaver into their new civilian career. The principles are the same. Build confidence, communicate clearly, empower people and create a safe environment where everyone can grow. In this episode, I'll share stories from grassroots football that connected directly to leadership challenges in business and in life. We'll look at what coaching young players teaches us about patience. That's a good one. Teaches us about communication and what it teaches us about resilience and culture. And by the end, you'll see that the best leaders aren't just bosses or managers. They're coaches. And the pitch has lessons for all of us. When people think of football coaching, they think tactics, drills, and shouting instructions from the sidelines. But real coaching, especially at grassroots level, is so much more. A grassroots coach is in my mind, a teacher, a mentor, a motivator, and sometimes even a counsellor. It's about shaping character as much as developing skills. I once had a player who was terrified, absolutely terrified of making mistakes on match day. But every time they lost the ball, they froze. They looked at me for guidance. My job wasn't just to teach them techniques, it was to teach them mental resilience as well. To show them that failure wasn't the end of a game, it was feedback for them. And when they finally realised that mistakes were just part of learning, their confidence soared on the pitch. That's leadership in action, guys. And the same applies in business or in community life. Leaders who only focus on outcomes, they miss the bigger picture. The role of a leader, like a coach, is to grow people, not just to deliver those results for the bottom line. Every grassroots coach that I know knows the magic moment when a player scores their first goal, when they make their first tackle, or when they nail that first 1-2 pass. That moment changes everything for that coach on the sideline at that time, because it builds belief in the individual and it builds belief in the coaching staff. The confidence is foundation and so important about growth. In business, I've seen the same with graduates who doubt themselves until their first project succeeds. The whole way through a project could be 4 weeks, 6 months, 9 months. When it succeeds, the confidence soars from that individual. Or members of other organisations who feel overwhelmed until they deliver their first speech in front of a group with an impact. Or SMEs that gain belief that their first big client win. The principle is the same, people. People don't grow from being told they're capable. They grow when they experience capability for themselves. Leaders and coaches create them moments. Well, here's another lesson from the pitch. Communication, massively underrated with under 8s, 9s and 10s players. With young players, you can't overcomplicate things. If you say adopt a 4-3-3 shape and exploit the half spaces, you'll get people looking at you going, Coach, can you explain that? Coach, can you tell me what that is? If you turn that around and say, spread out, guys, girls. Make space and pass quickly. They get that. Simplicity beats complexity. The same applies in leadership. I've mentored people who presented strategies with so much jargon and paperwork that the teams were lost. When they stripped back all that nonsense back to simple, clear language, the team engaged. Communication isn't about showing how smart you are as a leader. It's about making sure people understand if a 10-year-old on a muddy pitch can't get it, neither will a team drowning in your jargon. Football teaches resilience like nothing else. Sometimes you train hard, you give everything you've got on the football pitch, and you still lose. Grassroots football teaches kids that setbacks happen. It's all right to fail at times, but also that them setbacks are only temporary. The next game is always coming. I coached our team that lost week after week for a few games at the start of a few seasons ago. Their heads were down. Parents started to bicker and to actually challenge me in regards to where we put people in their in positions, etc. But we reframed that. We reframed the mentality of it, and we stated that every game's a practice for these guys. They're 7-year-old, 8-year-old. Every mistake was feedback for them and for us as a team. And you know what? Slowly but surely, the confidence grew. The performance improved. And eventually wins came, and nobody could touch us for ages. The resilience in them young guys that didn't just build better players, it built stronger kids. Stronger kids are going to be in society before you know it. In business, I've seen SMEs facing financial hits, or young graduates facing job rejections after job rejections, or service leavers struggling to settle. Resilience is the same everywhere. Fall down, reflect upon it, and rise stronger, build something bigger. Losing is never failure unless you stop learning. One of the most important parts of grassroots coaching for me is creating a culture. It's creating a culture of safety where they can fail and nobody's going to chastise them. Kids won't thrive if they're scared of being shouted at by every mistake they make. They thrive when they feel safe to try, when they're supported by their teammates, when they're encouraged by not just their coach and their manager, but by the parents on the sideline. No negative shouting, why didn't you pass that ball? Why didn't you give it to X, Y, Z? How about, well done, great tackle, great effort? That's the kind of stuff that we want from our parents. And that's a culture change. And it's took years to go. And we have now got it in spade loads. The same applies in companies and in councils around the country and in communities. If leaders create a culture of fear, innovation dies. People just leave it be. If they create a culture of safety, people step forward, they take risks, and guess what? They grow. Great coaches, just like great leaders, build cultures where people aren't afraid to fail because they know they'll be supported to learn. 2 quick stories. I love bringing things to life. First, a shy player who didn't speak very much in part of our team. We made it a team rule to celebrate everyone's small wins. So not just the goal scorers. Over time, that player found their voice. And later in life, only a couple of years, they've carried that confidence into school and beyond. Second, a leader I mentored who works, he's quite high up in a local council. He struggled with public speaking. He's got a bit of a stammer. We applied just some principles, celebrating small wins, delivering something on a Teams. So I got him to practice on Teams. We then went onto Zoom platforms, only with me and him, and then we slowly introduced some of his friends to give him confidence. And within months, their confidence transformed. That was hard for them. It was hard for them to bring in friends to chastise them whilst they were talking. But it worked. There's different worlds between my first story of the young player who wouldn't speak and the second story. But the same principle, confidence grows when leaders shine a light on their own progress. Don't underestimate that. Here's your mission for this week, and it is another short one. Think like a grassroots football coach or a grassroots hockey coach, whatever sport it is. Ask yourself, how can I simplify my communication? How can I get my message to those people in the most simplified manner? Build someone's confidence or create a safe space for growth. Whether it's at work or home or in your community, pick one person you can encourage this week and give them their first goal moment. Well, that's it for today's CWC Edge podcast. I'm loving the feedback I'm getting from people and the amount of mail I'm getting for people to say, look into this subject and, can you do a shout out for this? I've also got my very first plug in a couple of podcasts time where I'll talk about a really, really cool up and coming app, and it's for parents and people who live away from time to time from their children, and I'll drop more of that in my next couple of episodes. Grassroots football teaches us lessons far beyond the football pitch. It shows us the power of confidence, the power of clarity and resilience and culture. Leaders aren't just decision makers, they're coaches. And the best coaches in the world, whether in sport or in business or in life, build people. They don't build results. If you want to dive deeper into coaching, leadership and empowerment, head to cwcedge.com. You'll find free resources there and ways to connect with me directly. Whether you're leading a company, mentoring graduates, running a council, coaching a team, or guiding service leavers, the principle of coaching will give you an edge. Until next time, lead like you're a coach. Play with resilience. And as always, people, keep your edge. Thanks for listening to CWC Edge podcast. If today gave you something to think about, share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends, share it with your team, because growth is better when it's shared, people. For more insights, resources and blogs, head over to cwcedge.com. Until next time, keep it simple, keep improving, and keep your edge.